report. We don't have no sound tonight. It's probably for the best. We're here to talk about Rick Ross, Drake. Rick Ross just dropped a scathing diss record against Champagne Poppy Drake. He's calling him a white boy. He's saying all types of disparaging things about him. He's claiming the man has a BBL. We're here to talk about these lyrics tonight. Rick Ross and Drake. Now, if you don't know about Rick Ross and Drake, you know, they have a lot of hit records together. I mean, honestly, Stay Scheming, Gold Roses, Money in a Grave, Diced Pineapples, a lot of hit records, Made Men, a lot of hit records that these two have made together. And I ain't gonna lie, a lot of people are like, you know, a little saddened about this, because when you think about, you know, because when people think about all the hit records that Drake has, you know, a lot of people, they feel a little sentimental about Future, because a lot of people love that What a Time to Be Alive album, but people really love to hear Drake and Rick Ross rock together. So I think this one was a little sentimental for a lot of folks. This one was a lot of, you know, a lot of people were feeling a little down and out that Rick Ross has now taken this stance. He's clapping at Drake, calling him a white boy, saying that he got his body done. He's getting BBLs, and the reason he says that, you know, the reason why Drake is on stage and he's like, you know, dressing, you know, weird. He got all like these weird bodysuits and stuff like that. They're saying he's dressing like that because he got his body done. Is that the tea for this evening? Hit the bell. Is that the tea for this evening? Did Drake get his body done? Does Drake have a BBL? You know, did Drake get his curves and his, you know, his body done? You know, did he get that BBL done? You know, get, you know, Dr. Miami. The jokes are being made currently about Drake getting his body done. Let me know out there. Are you team Drake? Are you team Rick Ross? Are you team Kendrick? Who are you ultimately going with in this beef? This is hip hop beef right here. This is one of the best times for hip hop. The competitive nature, the competitive fiber has been put back into the game, and it's something to talk about. It's something to go in about. Now, I may have to pull up some of these lyrics from Rick Ross, the Champagne, what's the name of this record? The Champagne Wishes. What is it? What's the name of this record? I may have to pull up the lyrics of this and just to go down these lyrics of what Rick Ross was saying to him. You know, it was kind of messed up. You know, he's saying that he's getting BBL. Champagne Moments. That's the name of the record. Champagne Moments. I just want to go to the bottom where he's kind of like, you know, clowning him about having like a BBL and stuff like that. He says, outro. By the way, oh yeah, he says, you ain't never want to be a nigga into anyway. That's why you had operation to make your nose smaller than your father's nose. He's directly clapping at Drake's blackness, at Drake's, you know, identity as a black man, which I have an issue with, you know, because I've seen the pictures of Drake, the alleged pictures where they said he got his nose done. I don't see it. Maybe somebody else can show me something that I'm missing, but I've looked at pictures and I don't see necessarily his nose being, you know, reduced or enhanced or some type of way. I see a man that maybe his nose just got older. I don't necessarily know what to call it, but to me it doesn't feel like, you know, he's had things done to his nose. So maybe somebody could tell me, you know, maybe show me a picture, you know, in the chat if you don't, We got 11 votes in here. Yeah, what team are you rocking with? Are you rocking with Drake? Are you rocking with Rick Ross? Are you rocking with Kendrick Lamar? Who are you ultimately going with in this beef? Let me know. I want to know you guys' story. Salute to Sinclair. I see Sinclair's in the building. I see you checked in. Trey Porter, I see you checked into the building. I see everybody is checked into the building. Yeah, let me know who y'all rocking with, you know. But for Rick Ross to go directly at the blackness of Drake, I think it's a low blow, you know, and I'm sure Sinclair, salute to Sinclair, that's one of my moms. I'm sure that she could, you know, understand that that's a little bit of a low blow. Like, you know, does Drake really have a identity crisis? I disagree. I think that he looks at himself as a black man. We don't see Drake, you know, running around with blonde hair and or, you know, or just not embracing his black father, or just, you know, just trying to be anything antithetical black, right? We don't see him working with Adele or working with Taylor Swift, because let's be honest, he's big enough to do that. He's big enough to go run around with the pop stars. He can rub shoulders with the Adeles and the Taylor Swifts and do records with them. But he, you know, primarily he stays in the hip hop genre. Primarily he stays in the urban genre and makes his hip hop music. He makes his R&B music. He's making music for black people primarily. So, you know, for people, for Rick Ross to, you know, attack his blackness card, I have an issue with that. I take issue with that. But he goes on to, he talks about the man's nose. He says that his nose, he got his nose worked on, like Dr. Miami was working on his curves, and then he worked on his nose. And he says, that's why you had that operation, to make your nose smaller than your father's nose. I unfollowed you, nigga, because you sent the mother effing cease and desist to French Montana, nigga. You sent the police, nigga, hating on my dog project. Now, let me stop right there. I gotta stop right there. Halt, right? Because this is what I was thinking when I heard that part. This is what I was thinking. Rick Ross, I need you to come to the table, sir. Are you not the same man who worked in the correction facility? Were you not a CO? Now you're clapping at Drake because he sent a cease and desist. First of all, a cease and desist has nothing to do with the police. When someone sends you a cease and desist, 9 times out of 10, it's through a lawyer. A lawyer's probably sent the email. What happened is probably a lawyer sent the email to French Montana's team. It probably sent an email to French Montana's label and said, I need you to not put out this record, cease and desist, because it's over a record. Cease and desist, do not put this record out, right? Cease and desist, do not put this record out. What does that have to do with the police? He's talking about, you sent the police to my dog. Cease and desist, you sent the cease and desist to my dog. Rick Ross, you were a corrections officer. You was locking niggas up. You was throwing niggas in the hole. You know what I mean? You was slapping the handcuffs on people, hitting people over the head with the batons out there in Carroll City. You were a corrections officer, sir. So for you to take this stance of, you called the police on my dog, you called the police on my nigga, like, you were a corrections officer, sir. You were locking niggas up. You was tasing niggas. You was hitting niggas over the head with the batons. You was doing these things, Rick Ross. So I take issue with that as well. You know, you're talking about he called the cops. When Drake didn't call the cops, Drake didn't call no cops on French Montana. All he did was send a cease and desist through his label. His label and his lawyers probably sent the cease and desist and said, hey, don't do that. You know, don't put out that record. You know? Yeah, he called him a white boy. Smith, shout out to Smith. He says he called him a white boy twice. Yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah, it is. NBA City says, remember what Ross did to 50? What did Ross do to 50? Let's be real. NBA City, 50's career was on a decline. Let's be real. 50's career was in a decline. Ross was coming up. You know, he was having great songs with T-Pain. He was around that collective of DJ Khaled. His career was going up. Rick Ross' career was going up, 50 Cent career was going down. It's not the fact that Rick Ross was beating 50 Cent. It was just the fact that, you know, he had his time, just like now. Rick Ross, his time is done. Ain't nobody checking for Rick Ross. Look at how much Rick Ross and Meek Mill sold on that collaborative album. Or what's the name of that collaborative album that they put out? Look how much it sold. I think it sold like 30,000 copies or less than that. Nobody's checking for Rick Ross. Drake is the guy right now. Drake is selling 3, 4, 5, 600,000 copies a week, first week. Selling out tours all around the world. He's the biggest artist here. Even in Rick Ross's height, he was nowhere near Drake, even in his height. So, you know, I'm not rocking with Rick Ross. Remember what he did to 50? 50's career was on the decline when Ross was clapping at him. You know, nobody was checking for 50 at that point in time in his career. Sinclair says, Richard, never a Rick Ross fan. Yeah, Rick Ross, yeah, come on. You know, do I like some of Rick Ross's music? I do. I think that he's a good rapper. Teflon Don, great album. He has some good albums. God Forgives I Don't, good album. He has some good mixtapes as well. But the reality is this. Rick Ross is, if you ever seen the infamous movie CB4, Rick Ross is the antithesis of that character of, I believe his name was Albert, you know, and the antithesis of the main character in CB4, Rick Ross embodies that. He is the antithesis of Albert in CB4. He took a whole persona, a whole drug dealer's persona, Rick Ross, Freeway Ricky Ross, who was a crack drug runner back in the 80s, who did all these years. He took his persona, he took his life as a corrections officer, you know, and made it into a rap career. He's the antithesis of CB4. He took somebody's whole swag, whole life story, and made a rap career out of that. He's CB4. So, you know, Rick Ross, you know, listen, I could kind of respect Drake a little bit more, because Drake never tried to tell us he was this tough guy from Toronto, Canada. Drake never told us he was just the super gangster from Toronto, Canada, or he was some drug dealer out of Toronto, Canada. Drake has always said, I'm the lover. You know, I like to sing to the girls. I'm sensitive. You know, I can rap pretty good. You know, he's still competitive, but he's never tried to sell us a fake life story. It's all been, I'm a sensitive guy. I like to sing to the women. I'm competitive when it comes to this rapping thing, but that's about it. Rick Ross has sold us a lie. For his whole career, he's been telling us he's this super thug, this super drug dealer. I know the Noriega, the real Noriega. Stop it. You don't know no Noriega. Stop it. He's been lying his whole career. His whole career is a sham. It's ridiculous. Yeah, MC Gusto. He was MC Gusto, the first MC Gusto, to be real with you. Sinclair says, herpes is well known too. Doesn't mean any of us want it. I think Richard says his first album is fire after that CO stuff. You know, the first album, what was that? Port of Miami? Port of Miami was a cool album. I think even Triller was a good album too. Triller, God Forgives I Don't. He has a few good albums. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and kick in his back and act like I never liked a Rick Ross song. Around that Teflon Don era, he was my guy. He was an incredible rapper. But the fact remains, you know, he was CB4. You know, he was the first CB4. He was doing it way before. You know, he was the first example of that. But how do y'all feel about him calling Drake a white boy? Why is Rick Ross attacking the blackness of Drake? Do you think that Drake has, you know, what's the right word here? That he doesn't really identify as a black. Like when you see Drake and you see the way he talks, the way he acts, do you see a black man? Maybe that's what I'm trying to ask. Do you guys see a black man, or do you guys see a poser? Do you guys see someone who who doesn't identify as black? You know, I think personally, I identify Drake as a black man. I think that he carries himself like a black man. I haven't seen him do anything that makes me question his blackness. Personally, I haven't seen anything that makes me say, oh, he doesn't look at himself as a black man. Like when I see him, I think of a black man. I don't think he's not on some he's not. And listen, I love Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is one of my favorite artists of all time, but he's not on no Michael Jackson type tip. Michael Jackson, he did all types of things to alter his skin. They say he had vitiligo. I think he did, but I don't think it was to that degree. I think he had patches. I think Michael Jackson had patches of his skin that was lighter than the rest of his skin, and he tried to do little things to alter his whole skin to make himself white, right? Remember when Michael Jackson came back? He came back with that Bad album. He was damn near white. So I don't see Drake doing that. I don't see Drake like on some like obsessed with whiteness, obsessed with being white, or I don't see that. He does have a white baby mother. I mean, I could clap at him like that. But I personally think that if he could have gotten Rihanna pregnant, I think he would have done it. I think if Rihanna would have let him go on Raw Dog one night, I think he would have shot the club up and had a baby with her. I think he just slipped up. He started messing with that girl. He probably went in Raw Dog. He went in with no jacket on, and he shot up the club. You know what happens, To be real with it, Richard says straight out of Low Cash. Exactly, straight out of Low Cash. Yeah, MC Gusto. He MC Gusto for real, man. Let me look at the votes right quick. Yeah, I need y'all to vote though. Are you team Drake? Are you team Rick Ross? Are you team Kendrick? Who are you predominantly going with in this battle? Do you feel like this battle will ultimately have a winner? Do you think that this is all for, just kicks and giggles and stuff like that? Or do you think that they will ultimately be a winner? I'm going to let you guys know right now, I'm rolling with Drake. I think that Drake is a winner. I think that Drake is more important to hip hop culture. Yes, do they give Kendrick Lamar all the accolades and the Grammys? And Kendrick Lamar had the verse of the year. Kendrick Lamar made this groundbreaking album where he's talking about mental health. Kendrick Lamar, like, I understand all the accolades, but at the end of the day, bro, when we talking about a dude who's clocking in every year, giving you hit after hit after hit, that's making you sing the songs, making you fall in love, making you fall out of love, who's coming into work year after year, not taking off 5 years to go play soccer in Ghana, not taking off 7 years to lay a verse because we haven't heard you in 30 months. I'm talking about a guy who shows up to work every year, putting in his hat, lacing up his boots for the season, dropping that verse, dropping that song, dropping that mixtape, dropping that album, dropping that single. That's what Drake does. So I'm rolling with Drake. I'm working with the dude that comes to work every single day. Not the dude that comes to work when he wants to play, because he claims that he has writer's block and he can't write a song for 5 years. I'm not doing that. That's that Lauryn Hill nonsense. We're not doing that. I'm not rocking with that. You can't write a song or you can't make an album for 7-10 years like Kendrick Lamar. I'm not rolling with that. We're not rolling with that. I don't want to hear that. Sinclair says, I see a guy who had a bar mitzvah. He did have a bar mitzvah. You're right about that, Sinclair. Sinclair says like, comment, subscribe, notification, share the content, join the chat. Exactly. I would hit the button right now, but my keyboard is off on there. But that was a warning, though. That was a warning. But yeah, I want you guys to join the chat. Who are you ultimately rolling with? Are you rolling with Drake? Are you rolling with Kendrick? That's an interesting point that you brought up there, though, Sinclair. You said that the man Drake, he had a bar mitzvah. Do you think that the fact that he had a bar mitzvah, Sinclair, do you think that takes away from his blackness card of him having a bar mitzvah? You know, because he does have a Jewish mother. You know, when you have a Jewish mother, or you were born from a Jewish mother, you're considered 110% Jewish. You have to have that Jewish mother. You know. I think Orthodox Jewish, they believe in that. The Orthodox Jewish community, they believe that you have to have a child from a Jewish mother in order to be considered Jewish. So he has that Jewish mother, but he does have a father from Memphis. I think his father's from Memphis or Houston or something like that. I've seen his father. He got that big old Steve Harvey suit with the thick mustache, the handlebar mustache on top. He got a black father, man. You know, he has an authentic black father, if you ask me. So that's why I've always considered him black. You know, he's biracial. I think that he's dealt with, and I think personally, Sinclair, I think Drake should be someone that you should sympathize with. I think if anybody could understand Drake's story, Sinclair, I think you would be, because if you don't know, one of my moms, salute to Sinclair, she's a biracial woman. I would think that his story would be maybe not identical because he's from Canada and stuff like that, but you could understand that struggle growing up as a biracial woman, or as a biracial person. You understand what it's like to not be, you know, too black for the whites, too black for the whites, too white for the blacks. You know, you understand that struggle. You would understand that. So, you know, and I believe he kind of talks from that perspective. He's even spoken on that perspective a lot on records, where he's like, you know, he feels like he never really fit in. You can kind of hear it in his records when you hear him talk. So, you know, he is that biracial MC. He is the quintessential biracial MC, if you ask me. He's the quintessential biracial MC. I don't think anyone does it better than him. I mean, I'm not gonna listen to Logic. I don't think Logic tells the biracial story better than Drake. I don't think he does. I'm trying to think of other biracial rappers. I can't think of any. Drake is the one that I would go to if I want to hear something from a biracial perspective. I think I would rather listen to Drake. I would rather hear his perspective on that topic. But we got 19 votes. Let me just look at the votes right quick. Okay. So we got 19 votes. Out of 19 votes, which team are you riding with? Team Drake has 26 votes. Team Rick Ross has 21 votes, and Team Kendrick has 53 votes. Keep voting in there. Keep voting in there. If you just walked in here, you know, wipe your feet before you start talking. But I need y'all to vote. Who are you rocking with? Are you Team Kendrick? Are you Team Drake? Are you Team Rick Ross? We're taking these votes here. Sinclair says he got more opportunity due to his religion. I think you're on to something there. That is true. It's crazy that you said that, Sinclair, because I've thought that too. Because I think that, let's be honest, let's be real here. You know, and I'm going to speak in code a little bit. Right? We know that community, I'm not going to say the community, but that community, we know they run the entertainment industry, right? They run the entertainment industry. They run music. They run film. They run media. They run all of these things, right? Now, is it possible? Because I've been bigging him up, but is it possible? Just to hear my conspiracy mind. Is it possible that Drake is a tether? Is he an agent and a tether to infiltrate the black community? Does he have a black father? Yes, but we don't know, is because Dr. Umar talked about this. Dr. Umar, he talked about this. You know, it's one thing to be black, you know, have that black skin, that melanated skin, but are you psychologically black? That's a good point. Are you psychologically black? I can't tell you if Drake is psychologically black. I don't know if he's psychologically black. I can't tell you that, you know. But based off to the things that I've seen, I think that, you know, I think he has some blackness to him, but do I think he's fully psychologically black? I don't know. I don't know if Drake knows what it's like to get pulled over with, you know, 4 of your black friends at 11 p.m. and then you got 2 white officers and they got their hands on their firearms waiting for you to make the wrong move. I don't know if Drake knows what that feels like. I don't know if he knows what that feels like. So, I mean, I'm sure he's dealt with racism just as a biracial kid, but is Drake a tether? Has that community, I'm not going to say that community's name, but has that community selected him to infiltrate black culture and predominantly dominate it? Because let's be honest, Drake is dominating hip-hop. He dominates hip-hop, you know? Have we been infiltrated by Drake? Because I don't think it's by coincidence you have all of these, like, you know, urban rappers, because Future, Rick Ross, they've stamped him early in his career, because early in Drake's career, he wasn't looked at as the you know, he didn't have that stamp to him. You know, everybody, they thought he was soft, they thought he was a cornball, too sensitive. These are not things that I thought, but these are things that people, this was the narrative. And he was running around with Rick Ross. He was running around with Future. He was running around with all the hood rappers, Lil Wayne and stuff like that. And they stamped him. They gave him that hood stamp. So when he came to Atlanta, did records with Future, they stamped him. When he went to Florida, did records with Rick Ross, they stamped him. Because generally, you know, he's not the typical rapper that these rappers would do songs with. Rick Ross and Future, they would do, you know, they would do trap songs. They would do work with trap artists. Not necessarily a Drake. No, they would not work with artists like that. So they put the stamp on him. So maybe they just feel a type of way. Maybe they feel like he's been running a little bit too rambunctious through the industry. He's been running a little too freely. He's doing a little bit too much dirt where he's, you know, messing with other rappers' girls and running off at the mouth, and he think he's just some, you know, dude that just can't be touched and nobody's can mess with his numbers and stuff like that. Maybe these rappers are just saying enough is enough. We are the men responsible for stamping his career. He would have just been, you know, maybe they feel like he would have just been a cornball from Toronto and nobody would have cared about him if Future, Rick Ross, and all these different rappers, Lil Wayne, didn't put that stamp on him. Maybe that's how they feel. Maybe they feel a way about that. Maybe they're saying, you know, maybe this is the reason that they're clapping at him. Maybe this is the reason why they're going ham on him now, you know? It's just, you know, this is my perspective. This is what I think that could be happening, you know? But let me know, man, which team are you riding with? Are you riding with Team Drake? Are you riding with Team Rick Ross? Are you riding with Team Kendrick Lamar? People are riding with Kendrick. And how do y'all feel about the records? Did y'all like the Drake record? Did y'all like the Rick Ross record? What records did y'all like? You know? Or do you think maybe Like That verse? Do you think the Like That was better? You think the Like That verse was just reign supreme and it was just the best thing since sliced bread? Let me know. We're here to talk about it. I want to know what your thoughts is on the Rick Ross record, on the Drake record, all those records. Was the Like That verse superior superior, opposed to the Drake record, opposed to the Rick Ross record. I like all three records. I think all three records were good. Even the Drake record. I could already see the narrative that they're going to place. A lot of people are going to hate on the Drake record. I like the Drake record. I think the Drake record is dope. I think that Drake, because let's be real here. This battle is supposed to be Drake versus Kendrick. You know, you got all these entities jumping in. You got the Future jumping in. You got the Rick Ross jumping in. You got all these different entities. You got Weeknd. He's throwing shots. You got all these different ASAP Rocky. All these entities are throwing shots at Drake. So it feels like it's 20 versus 1. He even says it in the record. It feels like it's 20 versus 1. When the beef, when the rap battle is really supposed to be against Drake and Kendrick. Like, let's be real. All these other entities don't matter. Rick Ross, he's lucky to sell 16K, you know, in the first week. He's lucky to sell that. Who else? ASAP Rocky. ASAP Rocky is a baby daddy, is the baby daddy nurse now. He's a stay-at-home mother right now. ASAP Rocky ain't ready to contend and be a contender in rap. He's out. He's a stay-at-home mom. You know, The Weeknd, he's a pop star. He's not a rapper. He's a pop star. He's just throwing shots, whatever. You know, all these other entities. You know, I could respect it coming from Future. Future, he's a dude that matters in this game. So I mean, I'll take the shots from Future, but outside of Future, it's really supposed to be Drake and Kendrick. That's what the battle was supposed to be. Even if you take it to Future, Future's not going to spit some incredible bars at Drake. He's not going to drop the next Ether or the next Takeover or the next Hit 'Em Up. So really the beef is supposed to be about Kendrick and Drake. That's what people want to see, you know? You know? Sinclair says, he grew up in Forest Hills outside of Toronto and went to private schools. I'm not knocking his talent. That is true though. He did grow up in a private school. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that though. You know, I mean, if that's his journey in life, as long as he doesn't try to sell us he was just some tough guy from Toronto. I don't have a problem with, you know, suburbans or, you know, or like, you know, middle class people that had a nice life in society infiltrating rap. I don't have a problem with that. As long as you don't lie to us and tell us that you had it hard, you used to eat sugar sandwiches and like as long as you wasn't, you know, trying to sell us that, you know, like you had it hard or nothing like that. I can appreciate the you know, rapping. I can appreciate your story. I can truly appreciate it. But who are you guys rolling with? Are you rolling with Kendrick? Are you rolling with Rick Ross? Are you rolling with Drake? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the voting section. We got 21 damn votes. Let your voice be heard. Let your light shine. Let your light shine, okay? Which team are you riding with? Team Drake, 33%. Team Rick Ross, 19%. Team Kendrick, 48%. People are riding with Kendrick. They are riding with him hard and tough. 21 votes. People are predominantly riding with Kendrick. I'm not mad at it. You know, if that's how y'all feeling, that's how y'all feeling. Y'all want to roll with him, that's what y'all want to roll with him. I was gonna do a music review show today, but I was just like, I don't want to do a music review show today. I just wasn't in the mood to do no music review show. I was not in the mood to do it today. Like, you know, I was like, let me just sit on here and just talk about, you know, what's going on. Because I talked about this a little bit earlier today, but I was like, let me get on here and just talk about this. You know what I mean? I didn't want to do a music review show. So I was like, let's talk about what's going on in the stratosphere and landscape of rap. You know, this is a historic time in rap. You know, forget about what's going on in Iran and Israel. Shameful to say, Forget about what's going on in there, you know, a couple missiles and stuff like that. Forget about that. It's about Drake and Kendrick. You know, we do live in modern day Rome. Let's be real. I mean, when you think about the football games, the basketball games, I mean, it's bigger than even rap. Like, you know, when you get into the entertainment industry, it's this modern day Coliseum stuff, you know? Just my perspective. But who are you riding with? Are you riding with Drake? Are you riding with Kendrick? Who will ultimately be the victor? The victor goes the spoil. Who will be the champ? Who will be crowned the champ after it's all said and done? Salute to E. Cole. Salute to my cousin E. Cole. He says, I don't think K-Dot dropping. You know, that's a good thing that you brought that up, Cole. It's a good thing you brought that up. How long will it take Kendrick to drop? How long will it take him? Because if Kendrick thinks he's gonna drop the Like That verse and disappear for another 5 years, I take issue with that. I take full issue with that. Because here we are, we're putting all this pressure on Drake. You gotta drop, Drake, you gotta drop now. You gotta drop now. We've been telling Drake you gotta drop now. The man finally dropped something. He dropped something, right? Now, if Kendrick, at this point, if he tucks his tail and hides out for 5 years, and we don't hear for 5 years, I take an issue with that. At this point, to me, that would be worser than J. Cole apologizing. If Kendrick disappears for another 5 years, that would be equivalent to what J. Cole did as far as apologizing. Because here we are in the midst of the battle. It's never been as heated as it was before. 10 years of this beef brewing, this rap battle brewing, and now you're gonna tell me you're gonna disappear for 5 years, Kendrick? That can't happen. I want to hear Kendrick respond in the next 3 to 4 weeks. We have to put him on a times table. We have to put him on a countdown. We cannot let him slide on this. Drake clapped at him. It's official. It's going down. I don't care what's going on with Rick Ross. I don't care what's going on with Future. Drake clapped at Kendrick. We need a response, Kendrick. You can't tuck your tail and run this time. We need you to, you know, the beef has never been as hot as it was now. It's time to step up to the plate. It's time to step up to the plate. 25 votes. Which team are you riding with? We got 36 for Team Drake. We got 16 for Team Rick Ross, and we got 48% for Team Kendrick. Who you riding with? Who are you ultimately holding down in this battle? Who, you know? But in terms of that whole Kendrick thing, that's been my beef, right? Because let me just speak to this, like, and let me just say this. You know, we understand that Kendrick is an incredible artist, an incredible talent. He will undoubtedly go down as one of the best. I think he will go down undoubtedly as one of the best. His catalog demands that, right? But we have to be honest about Kendrick Lamar, bro. We got to be honest. We got to be honest about that brother, man. He's an incredible artist. I can't take that away from him. Incredible artist, but we got to be honest about him. The man disappeared for 5 damn years. Who's going to hold him responsible for that? Drake put up numbers every single year. He ain't been going missing. He been right there. Hit record after hit record, mixtape after mixtape, album after album, feature after feature. He's been there. He's been there to give you the soundtrack for the summer. He's been there to give you the soundtrack for the winter. He's been there to give you the love song of the year, the hit record of the year, the club record of the year. He's been there. Kendrick goes missing. You can't find him. The nigga's like, where's Waldo? Is he in Uganda playing soccer? Is he in Compton collecting cans? Is he in New York doing pull-ups? Where is Kendrick? He's like, where's Waldo, man? And we have to start calling it out, bro. You can't go missing all the time. Like, don't get me. This is how I feel with art, and this is why I hold, Drake in a higher regard than Kendrick and J. Cole, right? A rapper can take 2-3 years off. I don't mind a rapper taking 2-3 years off, because you got to think, when you put out an album, you do a whole rollout, you're dropping singles. After the album comes out, you gotta go tour, you gotta shake hands, kiss babies, you might have to do some interviews, you may have to do some radio store time, depending on which artist you are. These are some of the things you have to do as an artist. Now, a lot of that will take up at least 2 years of your time, right? All I'm requiring for a rapper to take 2 to 3 years off, 2 to 3 years off. When you start taking 4-5 years off, I have to question if you want to be in this rap game. I have to question if you take this hip hop thing serious. I have to question if you really want to be around and if you really want to do this thing. And we have to question, how great are you? The greatest show up. If LeBron didn't show up for all 82 games and he only played like 12, he only played like 10, or he didn't even show up for the whole season, would you say he's one of the best? Would you say he's deserving of that MVP? Would you say he's deserving of those awards? Would you say he's deserving of, being ranked as one of the top 5 guys in the game? I would say no if he didn't show up. Drake is showing up for 82 games, putting up 27 a night, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. Kendrick goes missing. And when you go missing, you collect that fat O. You put up 0 points, 0 assists, and 0 rebounds. And that goes on your grade as an artist. You didn't drop nothing. You've been hiding. You've been doing pull-ups in New York. You've been collecting cans in Compton. You've been playing FIFA in Ghana. Get your ass on a microphone and get the rapping. This is your life's work. This is your craft. This is what you should be doing. You shouldn't be missing for no damn half a decade. Get your ass on the mic and start rapping. Start rapping. So when we talk about Kendrick, we have to hold his feet to the fire. We have to hold his feet to the fire. Stop. We can't just keep giving Kendrick these accolades, because I know you guys are voting for him. I know you guys love him. I know you think he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, but we have to be honest here. We have to be honest about his career. Cal says, why you look familiar? Maybe, I don't know why I look familiar, sir. I am a handsome man. Thank you for noticing that. But I don't know why I look familiar to you, but salute to you, sir. So I'm not gonna say nothing disrespectful. Salute, salute, salute. Almighty AK says he is consistent. Who's consistent? Are you talking about Drake or are you talking about Kendrick? Who's consistent? AK, who's consistent? I wanna know who's consistent. You can't be talking about Kendrick. Kendrick is not consistent. When has Kendrick been consistent? He goes missing. Even J. Cole said it. J. Cole, not King Cole. The snooze fest rapper, the apologize. I apologize. He apologizing. Even he said it. He said he's averaging 1 hot verse every 30 months or something. That's accurate. That's accurate. Every 30 months we see this man. He goes missing every other time. And I need y'all to vote. Hit that vote. Hit that vote. Which team are you riding with? Team Drake, Team Kendrick, or Team Rick Ross? Who do you think will ultimately be the victor in this battle? Who are you riding with? Who are you going down with? Chico says, hello from Northern California. Salute, Nico. Salute, salute. Who are you riding with, Nico? Are you riding with Team Kendrick? You're from California. Are you riding with Team Drake, or are you riding with Rick Ross? Ricky Rose? Let me know who you're riding with tonight. We need your vote here. Get your votes in. Get your votes in. But when it comes down to Kendrick, I just don't feel like he's consistent. He's not consistent. He keeps going missing. Now, this is why I have more respect for a Drake, because Drake is putting up the numbers. He's giving you the Hot 100 records. He's giving you the features. He's giving you the hooks. He's giving you the love songs, the albums. What more do you want? Some of you Drake haters, like, let's be honest. If Drake went missing, if Drake took 5 years off like a Kendrick, how good would rap be? You think about it. You wouldn't have no Hot 100 records, because nobody in rap is doing the Hot 100 thing. Nobody's popping like that to be giving you hot, #1 records like that. Nobody's hot like that. Drake is the only top rapper stepping to the competition who's willing to battle anybody who's ready to battle him. He's the only guy doing that at that level. Don't expect anybody else to do it. Drake is single-handedly keeping hip-hop relevant. He's putting this culture, he's putting this genre on his back time and time again, and people just keep disrespecting him. They don't want to give the man his flowers. Give the man his flowers. He's putting this culture on his back. He's put this genre on his back. Where's the flowers? Where's the respect? You want to just make these stupid memes? Oh, Drake is sensitive, and Drake, he got a BBL, and Drake is this and Drake is that. I mean, like, who? If Drake went missing for 5 years, who else would you be talking about? Kendrick goes missing. J. Cole doesn't want to compete. He just wants to, he wants to light some incense and get some black soap. Play around with gemstones and talk about the sun, moon, and the stars. Who would you have to talk about if it was just Drake just went missing? Future, you just want to hear about lean and doing drugs all day, and he doesn't want to compete. He doesn't want to rap to a higher level or a higher intelligent level. Who would you want to? I mean, I'm speaking facts here, and I need y'all to hit that vote. Hit that vote. Make sure y'all vote, and also hit that like button. We got about 50, some odd people in here. Salute to y'all. Salute to y'all for riding out tonight. We talking about it tonight. Are you team Drake? Are you team Kendrick? Are you team Rick Ross? We need to know. Are you checked in tonight? Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. This is the check-in report. Are you riding with Team Drake, Team Kendrick, or Team Rick Ross? Now, let's talk a little bit about the Rick Ross record, because I've been talking about Kendrick and Drake a little bit. Let's just go to the Rick Ross record, right? I like the Rick Ross record. I think that the Rick Ross record is a respectable shot. It's a respectable shot. There's a few things that I take issue. I don't like the fact that he's questioning Drake's blackness. I don't like the fact. Now, this is another thing that I don't like about the Ross record. Let's talk about it. And I need y'all to continue to vote. Make sure you also subscribe to the channel. Make sure you also like this video. But let's get back to the Ross record. This is something that I don't like about that record. This is what I don't like. Why is Rick Ross so infatuated? So infatuated. Just infatuated with Drake's body. Like, honestly, he said that the man had a BBL. He's talking about he got his body done. Why is, and no disrespect, why is Rick Ross a man he has to be over 300 pounds, respectfully. He has to be over 300 pounds. Why is he so obsessed with Drake's body? Like, is he literally, don't tell me he's going down the timeline and reading the shade room comments about Drake getting his body done. Or remember when Drake, they said Drake had some type of some picture with a slong, whatever. I haven't seen it, nor will I ever look at it, because there's a lot of dudes looking it up and watching it, which is kind of questioning that. Like, why are you looking up another dude's thing? I mean, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But like, what is Rick Ross doing? Like, are you going down the timeline looking at Drake's stomach? You're looking at different photographs. Oh, his stomach was pudgier here, but here is sculpted. Like, what is Drake doing? Like, you're calling up surgeons and Dr. Miami. Hey, Drake, did you get your did Drake come in and get his body done there, Dr. Miami? You think you do some work with me? Like, I don't understand why a man that's 300 pounds is so infatuated with another man's body. I don't get it. Yeah, make sure y'all vote. Salute to Sinclair. Sinclair says, make sure, please vote. There's 44 people in here. We got 47. Make sure y'all vote. Which team are you riding with? Are you riding with Team Kendrick? Are you riding with Team Drake? Are you riding with Rick Ross? Who you're riding with? The Drake percentage is starting to go up. The Drake percentage is starting to go up. Keep voting for Drake. 41 for Team Drake. 41% for Team Drake. Team Rick Ross, we got 12%, and Team Kendrick, we got 46%. I need y'all to keep voting. Keep voting. Hit the like button. Hit the subscriber button. But I didn't like that whole angle of Rick Ross talking about the body of Drake. Like, why are you talking about this man's body? Like, why are you looking at his, like, when I see a picture of Drake with his shirt off or something like that, I scroll. I don't want to look at no dude with his shirt off. I don't want to know if Drake is got his body done. I don't care. And that's my issue with a lot of these like dudes. And a lot of these dudes, they call themselves street rappers, trap rappers, but they get into these little T angles. Like I can kind of respect the angle of Rick Ross attacking Drake's blackness. I can respect the angle of Rick Ross attacking different aspects. But I feel like these gangsters, these trap rappers, they get into these weird angles where it's like T angles. Like it's like T. It's like shade room, media takeout angles. Like why are we sitting here discussing Drake's stomach? Or the fact that he had a BBL or something like that. Why are we discussing that in a hip hop battle? Even with the Pusha T battle, why were we discussing if Drake, you know, had a child out of wedlock, or he has a baby mother or something like that? This all Maury Povich type of stuff. This is all T stuff. This is like something you read on the Shade Room, something you read on Media Takeout, TMZ. This is not something this is like, you know, tabloid stuff. Drake has a BBL. Drake has a sculpted stomach. He got his stomach, you know, he's curved out from Dr. Miami. Drake has a child out of wedlock. This is all tabloid stuff. This is like the type of stuff you read in Entertainment Weekly when you get it off the shelf. This is not rap battle stuff. No, get to the guns. Get to the you know, the credible facts. Cuzzo says suspect. Exactly. I agree. I think it is suspect. You know, Drake. Salute to Almighty AK. He says Drake. Yeah, it's like it's all like fitter. You know, it's all like tabloid fodder. Get to the angles. Get to the, you know, the credible, factual angles. I looked at Drake's nose recently, and I'm mad I even have to look at the man's nose. But I looked at the picture of his nose. It doesn't look different to me. Like he had the same nose he always had. You know, even if Drake did get his nose done, who cares, bro? I don't care if this nigga went to go get his nose done. I don't care. Give me something that matters. Give me something that I can sink my teeth into. No Diddy, right? Don't tell me this dude got his nose. I don't care. You know, if he's on his Michael Jackson flow, you know, he want that European Caucasian nose. He don't want that Negroidian nose anymore. Where he can sniff through the African jungles. That's his discretion. To his discretion, you know. I mean, I don't have an issue with it, and it doesn't make me look at him differently or make me feel a different way. I'm just tired of these tabloid angles from these quote unquote street rappers. If you're a street rapper, why is one of your angles, oh, Drake got his body done from Dr. Miami, when in all reality, Rick Ross, you might need to go to Dr. Miami and get your body sculpted, because you looking like a black walrus right now, Rick Ross. Let's be real. I mean, every time I see Rick Ross with his shirt off, I mean, he looking like the Blob. Sid, hey, what's up, Sid? Sid, straight from New Zealand. Shout out to New Zealand. Salute to New Zealand. Salute to New Zealand. But who you rocking with, Sid? You're from New Zealand. How you feeling about these tracks? These the Drake tracks, the Rick Ross tracks. How you feeling about these tracks? Are you riding with Drake? Are you riding with Kendrick Lamar? Are you riding with Rick Ross? Who you riding with tonight? Know what I mean? All must be addressed. You must pick a side. You must pick a side. Yeah, y'all gotta let me know who y'all riding with, man. Let me know. The voting is here. Let me look back at the votes. Let me see what the voting is looking like right now. We got about 46 votes. Salute to everybody that voted. Predominantly, Kendrick Lamar has 50% of the votes. Team Rick Ross has 11, and Team Drake has about 40%. Who are you rocking with? Who are y'all rocking with tonight? You know, I see a lot of people y'all rocking with. Y'all rocking with. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Sinclair said, "Did you call Rick Ross a black walrus?" Yes. He's shaped like a black walrus, you know? Rick Ross is shaped like a dirty bag of laundry. Salute, Cake. Salute, Cake. I guess Cake is rolling with Drake tonight. Drake? Rolling with Drake. I'm not mad at you. I'm rolling with Drake too. I'm Team Drake too. So I'm rolling with you, Cake. I'm rolling with you. You know? 007. Salute to 007. He says, "Bro, I'm serious. Jesus is coming back. Get out. Go to church before it's yacht day. Let me address that, because I did read it. 1000%. You need to get your soul ready. That's a fact. You ain't lying. You need to get your soul ready. But no man knows the time or date in the final hour. Remember that, you know? Don't look at what's going on in the world. You know, you need to be vigilant of what's going on in the world, and you need to, you know, realize, you know, a lot of things are lining up with those Bible prophecies. But ultimately, you need to get your soul ready. That's what's important. Don't stop worrying about what's going on in the world. Get that soul ready, you know? It's not about going to church. Going to church is not going to save your soul. Get yourself right together in here, you know? Not going to church. Going to church, there's plenty of people sitting in church right now that ain't going to make it, you know, sadly to say, you know, but, you know, that's just something to think about, you know? That's just, you know, that's just my perspective, you know? But let's get back into it, though. In terms of this battle, who are y'all rocking with? Who are y'all rocking with? Who are y'all rolling with tonight? Who are y'all rocking with tonight? Drake, Kendrick, Rick Ross. You know, Cake says, "I go to church, but people there is not friendly." Yeah, that's the issue with church. Church is not friendly. I think, I'm gonna be honest with you, and just to veer off into this a little bit, there's a passage in the Bible where it talks about, you know, people entering into the wide gate, and the only people that really find that path is a very few, because it's a narrow path, right? So, you know, when you think about these churches, they all encompassing, they're bringing people in, and it's not exactly a doctrine that aligns itself with the Bible. That's what people need to realize. You know, you're going into these big churches, you're going into these big synagogues, but is it a doctrine that you can stand by? Is it a Bible-based doctrine? So I personally think that, you know, listen, man, if you find spiritual guidance, if you find spiritual healing, if you feel good about, you know, where you are, you know, in terms of the church house that you have, that's good. That's a good thing. But realize it's about getting that soul together, not going to church, man. Going to church ain't gonna save your soul. Going to church isn't gonna, you know, make you feel good in here. It's not gonna, you know, it's not gonna save that soul. It's not gonna get you right spiritually. You got to get right spiritually. Forget about going to church. You know, there's plenty of people in church that ain't right. So I'm just, you know, there's something to think about. He said that they're ice cold. Cake says, I'd rather watch it on TV. Hey, man. Uncrowned King says, I'm out. Listen, we started talking about church. You out now, huh? Hey, man. Uncrowned, did you vote, though? Did you vote? We need that vote in. Are you Team Kendrick? Are you Team Drake? Are you team Rick Ross? Who are you rolling with? Who are you riding with? Who are you riding with tonight? You know, I need that vote in here tonight, you know? Before you leave, you know, I need you to wipe your feet, get that vote in, and let me know tonight, you know? Get that vote in here. But in terms of this whole thing, you know, there must be a victor. There must be a loser in this battle. Who are y'all? Are y'all rocking with the? Let me ask y'all this, right? Because you know we kind of veered off anyway. Am I lagging? Hold on, I think I'm lagging. Y'all give me 1 second. I think I'm lagging a bit. Okay, yeah, I was lagging. Why am I lagging? I'm like lagging for some reason. Y'all give me a second. Am I lagging on y'all end? Okay, I think I'm back. Yeah, I was lagging a bit. I don't know why I was lagging. Yeah, that's crazy. Let me look at the votes real quick. Give me 1 second. Let me just look at the votes. Which team you riding with? We got 40% for Drake. We got 12% is Rick Ross, and we have 48% for team Kendrick. These are the people we're riding with tonight. Who are you riding with tonight? Who are you ultimately, you know, putting your vote in for tonight, you know? Something to think about, you know? Who you riding with? I want those votes in, you know? Let me know who y'all riding with. Team Kendrick, do you ultimately vibe? And shout out to Sinclair. Sinclair says like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notifications, share the content. Exactly. That is a warning. You know, but whose message in terms of because we was talking about church for a little bit. I want to know whose message do y'all ultimately vibe with? Do you like the false coattails of a Rick Ross? Do you have the Messiah complex with a social commentary of Kendrick Lamar? Do you just want to hear music for the hoes with a little bit of hip hop competition of Drake? Who do you ultimately roll with on a musical tip? Whose message do you ultimately vibe with? Which rapper is the one that you say, yo, I could vibe with their message? Their message is a message I could vibe with. Their message is something that I could listen to in a car, and ultimately it's palatable to my ears. E. Cole says, while Drake was wasting time, him and Ross should have been dropped the tape. I agree. remember that YOLO tape? The YOLO tape? That should have been came out. I remember that. They had that song, tatted. I think, you'll still be mine. You'll still be mine. Get my name tatted on you so I know it'll still be mine. You'll still be mine. I still be your. Yeah, I remember that song. I mean, listen. Drake and Ross, they got a lot of hits, man. They got a lot of hits. They got a lot of, I mean, Stay Scheming, Gold Roses, Dice Pineapples. I mean, seriously, bro. They should have been did a tape. They should have been did a tape. I don't know what it took. I don't know why it took them so long to even think about even doing one, but they should have been did one, you know? Sinclair says, E. Cole. Yeah, that's the name of it. Free Spirit. Yeah, thank you. That's the name of the record. Yeah, Free Spirit. That was a good record. Sinclair says, E. Cole, I think there's enough room for all of them. Why bicker? There is enough room for all of them, you know? There is enough room for all of them. But I mean, hip hop is a competitive sport, you know? I think personally, this is my take, and I haven't heard anybody with this take on why all of these rappers are clapping at Drake. Nobody has had this take. This is my reason why I think all of these rappers are clapping at Drake. There's a reason, especially Rick Ross. Rick Ross is clapping at Drake because Rick Ross and Meek Mills put out an album. I think it was called The Greatest Story Ever Told, whatever the name of that. It came and went. They were supposed to get a Drake record, but ultimately Drake never signed it. If you look into it, there's a show, I forgot the name of the show. I think it's called Goat Talk. Look up Goat Talk. Anybody that's watching this in the rebroadcast or you're watching this in the live stream, there's an episode of Goat Talk where Rick Ross and Meek Mill are sitting down and they're talking, and they bring up Drake, and they talk, and Meek Mills and Rick Ross are talking about how we might get we're working on a song with Drake right now. The boy might be on the album. Like, they was bigging him up, right? So I think that Drake has been axing a lot of records. He's been saying, nay, I'm not putting that out, or I don't want to work with them two dudes, they cold. He's been doing that. Rick Ross, he says that he didn't clear the record for French Montana. Future, allegedly, Future is mad because Drake did a project with 21 Savage instead of him. So I think there's a lot of things happening here in terms of Drake saying, I don't want to work with these dudes, I don't want to work with these rappers, I don't feel like giving them another feature. And I think that a lot of them are kind of running down on him, or like, trying to get him up out of here. They're trying to pack him up, if you will. 49 votes though. I think I'm gonna end it at 50. I think I'm gonna end the voting at 50. But which team are you riding with? Team Drake, who has 39%, Team Rick Ross, which has 12%, and you have Team Kendrick, which has 49%. Who are you ultimately riding with? Who do you think ultimately has the juice? I think I'm going to end it at 50 votes. So at 50 votes, I think I'm going to end the poll, because I've talked about this enough. I just want to know who people are ultimately riding with. Who are you riding with? Who are you riding with? Who are you riding with? Are you riding with Team Kendrick? Are you riding with Team Drake? Are you riding with Team Ross? Who ultimately do you think will be the victor when it's all said and done? When the records go out and the albums come out, let's be honest, it's only a 2-horse race. Shame on me for even putting Rick Ross in this discussion. Shame on me. And the only reason I put him in the discussion is because he did drop a record today. But it's a 2-horse race. I mean, only Drake and Kendrick are relevant to this conversation. Rick Ross, I mean, he's not selling no records like that. Nobody's checking for Rick Ross. He had his time. It was 2010, 2009, and 2008. He was the man. Teflon Don, God Forgives I Don't. What else he had? All of those projects, even like Port of Miami and Triller and stuff like that. He was killing those albums. He was the man back then. You know what I mean? But in terms of today, like, hip hop has changed. Like, nobody wants to hear his fake coke rap stories. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear his fake persona. He still talk about that same nonsense, just like Pusha T. Still talking about, selling weight, dog. It's like, come on, bro. It's the 80s. I mean, come on, bro. It's not the 80s anymore, bro. This is not 1985 where you making crazy amount of money on coke. Like what are we talking about here? Like, any rapper with these coke stories is just like, it's not anything believable that I can listen to, in my opinion. Vele Singh says, what's your opinion regarding black people glorifying crime in their music? That's a very good question. Vijay. Let me read that one more time. What's your opinion regarding black people glorifying crime in their music? Well, Vijay, let's be real. Let's be honest here. Before any black person glorified crime in their music, white people did it first. Let's be honest here. Think about it, because we have this wild misconception that black people started this, and black people started this, and black people, they overly doing it, they over glorifying these things, when in reality, black people learned it from white people. They did. Think about it. Even when you look at gangster movies, think about gangster movies, right? Or gangster films, right? Or gangster TV shows. You got stuff like The Power. You got stuff like BMF. All of this stuff is derivative of what the Hollywood industry was doing back in the 1920s, the 30s, and the 40s when the film industry was created. You had films like Scarface. You had films like, where they were championing the gangster, championing the crook, right? Championing that criminal mentality, right? And these were big movies, so I kind of take issue with that question, because you're saying that black people glorify crime in their music when in reality they've learned it from white people. It's the same thing. It's the same conversation with misogyny, right? When they say hip hop glorifies misogyny, they always demeaning women and they got them shaking their behinds in the thing, when in reality this is Western culture. When you see that that swimsuit ad with the girl with a bra out, or that beer ad with the half naked girl on the catalog, drinking the Heineken, this is Western culture. We live in America where we glorify violence. That's why everybody has a damn gun in their house. That's why there's gang violence. That's why there's criminal aspects happening all around this great country that we live in. So I take issue with that question, because black people have learned this culture. Black people have adopted this culture. They've adopted this. They've adopted the violence. They've adopted the misogynistic. They've adopted all of these things. So that's my answer to that. We've adopted these things. No, see, that's the thing. Vijay. Scarface, you're talking about the 1980 Scarface. I'm talking about the Scarface from back in the day. Hold on, let me look up the name of that film, Scarface, because it might have not been called Scarface from the 1940s. Hold on, because Scarface is a remake of Scarface is a remake of the 1932 film Scarface. You're thinking about the 1980 Scarface with Al Pacino. No, I'm talking about the 1932 film Scarface, right? Starring Paul Munich and Durek. These are all white people. These are all white people in the white in the white Hollywood industry. The 1932 Hollywood film Scarface. You need to look that up, because Scarface is a remake of the 1932 film, and it's all derivative of Western culture. This is Western culture. Black people have adopted the misogyny. They've adopted the violence. They've adopted these things, so I take issue with how that question is placed. I take issue with how you're placing that question, because black people have only adopted this. We haven't created this. We haven't created violence in music. We haven't created misogynistic culture in music. We haven't created it. It's been there. It's been prevalent. When you go back to the 1980s with the hair bands, with the girls, with the hair bands, they had the girls with the bra out, with the breasts all out. Like the hair metal. When you go back to Elvis, where he was shaking his hips and all of that, like it's been there. All of this has been there. Like, black people didn't create this stuff. Salute to Nelly. I see Nelly's in the building. Salute to Nelly. Vijay says, in your opinion, they still keep glorifying it even today. Should the black community put a stop to it? I think, Vijay, that the black community should stop when Western culture stops. I think that you are focusing on the black community and saying they're glorifying it. They're the reason. You may have a race issue where you're just looking at black people doing these things, but you're not looking at any other community doing these things. You're not looking at the crime in all these other communities. You're not looking at the immigrant stuff and the immigrants beating up on citizens, or you're not looking at the white community and all the crime and the vitriol that goes on there. You're focusing on the black community and making it seem like it's only prevalent to the black community when all these other communities have these issues as well. Maybe not as frequent. I can agree with you there. Maybe not as frequent, but they have the same issues, right? So I think that when Western culture stops, when Western culture says we're not going to glorify violence, we're not going to adopt misogyny, we're not going to treat women like playthings. When Western culture stops all of that entirely, that's when the black community will stop. Black people have only adopted these things. These are not things that black people have created. They've adopted them. So I take issue with what you're saying. Vi J says King Von, Sexy Red, Little Dirk, etc. Never heard a violent country music song. See, again, you're focusing on black artists. You're focusing on black artists. Why aren't you looking at all these other artists, the artists in rock and roll that promote a rock star lifestyle, doing drugs, shooting drugs in their veins, being alcoholics and drinking, carrying firearms? This stuff is happening in the rock and roll community. It was happening in the 80s with the hair bands, satanic music, worshiping the devil, death metal. You're focusing on the black community and acting like, oh, it's the black people saying they're going wild. Well, you're not looking at all these other communities that's just as bad or doing just as worse. That's my thing. I just feel like you possibly have an issue with black people, possibly, and I feel like you think that black people are responsible for these things when in reality they're not. They just adopted these things, That's just my opinion. Yeah, that's just my opinion, Exactly, Nelly. Nelly says heavy metal is extremely violent. I seen a video of a heavy metal concert. Think about it. You got little dainty white girls walking around the concert, and it's a bunch of white men swinging their fists in the air, with high velocity. One of the white men hit a girl in the face with his fist. The white girl was probably 90 pounds. And you got full-grown white men swinging their fists in the air, bobbing their head. One of the white girls got pushed in the face. I don't see hip-hop music doing that. To women just, enjoying themselves at a concert. You may have a fight or two, but I don't see that happening, where that violence is just accepted and prevalent. If something jumps off at a hip hop concert, mostly you're not, thinking that it will happen. Maybe it happens outside or something like that. But where you have white men swinging their fists in the air and it's accepted and people are expecting it, that's kind of alarming as well, But people don't want to talk about that. I think that Vi J, respectfully, he may have an issue with race. He keeps jumping to different aspects. He bringing up Sexy Red. He still hasn't challenged my argument that these things have been prevalent in Western culture. Vi J, I'm waiting for you to challenge that. These things have been prevalent in Western culture. The gangster lifestyle promoted by the Hollywood industry. We can go as far back as the 1930s. Carrying firearms, doing drugs. All of these things were prevalent in music before hip hop came on the scene. What is your excuse for that? Is black people responsible for that? Are we responsible for that as well? Sexy Red wasn't making records back in the 40s and 50s, Ice Cube wasn't making movies back in the 1930s. Is he responsible for that too? you need to realize that Western culture, first of all, you're gonna make me give y'all a history lesson. America is founded on a bunch of people who wanted to come here, freak off. The original freak offs, the colonizers, they came to America to freak off, practice ritualistic spirituality that was rooted in the occult, and they wanted to escape the influence of Great Britain. That's what America was founded on. People that wanted to come here, freak off, practice whatever religion they want, and to escape the presence of the English, the England. That's what this country was based on. It wasn't based on these Christian values and the American flag and yada yada. No, people came here to freak off, practice whatever religion, whatever it may be, and to escape the English, the English prevalence. So I don't know where you thinking where America was just this holistic country and it just, just patriotic and, people that were just, Christian values and all of that. I don't see where you're seeing that at, where you, and you think that black people, when we came in, we just, just disturbed the fabric of the very nature of the country. I don't see that. But, Vel J says, it's not as influential as rap music today. Rap music has a huge influence on the youth, far more today in comparison to country music or rock and roll. I absolutely disagree. See, this conversation just tells me about how much you know. It tells me about how much you know. Anybody that knows anything about not hip hop, American history, anybody that knows that the baby boomer generation, after that baby boomer generation, right? That generation, that was the generation that shifted everything. This was before hip hop. We talking about people that were born in the 40s, 50s, 60s, early 60s. The baby boomer generation was the generation that shifted American culture, where they started having promiscuous sex, frequent drug use, violence. These are not things that were prevalent back before then. Back before the baby boomer generation, this shows me how much you know. You don't know. You need to read. You need to do some studying. Because you don't know much. Before the baby boomer generation, right? There were men that went to work, women that stayed home, took care of the family. There was a social order. It was even reported that the black family was doing better than the white household because everybody's houses was in order. That man went home. That man went to work. He took care of his family. He brought home the bacon. That woman stayed home. She took care of the family. When we go into the baby boomer generation, which is the 1945 to the 1960, this is when you see psychedelic rock coming. The Beatles, the English Invasion, right, with the Rolling Stones and stuff like that. This is where you start to see the psychedelic drugs come in. LSD comes into play. Ecstasy. Frequent drug use, the weed, hippies, frequent sex with different partners, free love. That was the generation that shifted the culture, that shifted everything. Before that, it was Bible-based, marriage. You can't have sex before marriage. The baby boomer generation was what changed it all. It just shows me how much you know. You don't know much. It wasn't the rap generation. All of that was going on before rap came on the scene. He just every time he says something, I'm hitting him with facts, and he has nothing to combat what I'm saying. It just shows me how much he knows, respectfully. You know, it just shows me how much he knows. Nelly says Ozzy Osbourne was from Kiss, was on stage biting heads. No, Ozzy Osbourne is from Black Sabbath. Yeah, he's not from Kiss. He's from Black Sabbath. But he was biting the heads off of bats. Exactly. He was biting heads off the bats. He was doing that. Nelly says the 60s were all about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Exactly. Hippies. That was the culture that shifted Western culture, that shifted Western civilization. The baby boomer generation. Anybody that knows anything about American history knows that. Vijay, I believe all music in different eras was controversial. I agree about that too, you know? I agree as well. You know, listen, every generation has their controversial music, every generation. Whether it was, you know, hip hop, punk rock, metal, you know, rock and roll. When rock and roll first came onto the scene, that was considered controversial. So, I mean, you know, all of these forms of music was considered controversial. But to sit up here and say that, you know, rap music is responsible for all of these things, and that's not entirely true. All of these things were here. And you notice how every time I'm hitting him with a fact, he has no rebuttal. he just jumps on to the next question. Right? He said, "Oh, isn't hip hop responsible? And it's the reason for these things." I said, "Hey, but these things were here in the 1930s. These things were here before hip hop was on the scene." I hit him with that, and then he says hip hop is the generation that started all of these things. I'm like, well, what about the baby boomer generation, where frequent drug use and promiscuous sex was promoted in the music and in everywhere, and in the lifestyle and in the culture? These things are not the reason why we're here today, and none of these things had an influence on the things that came after 30, 40 years later. He has no rebuttal. See, that's the thing about me. People, like, you know, I would love to debate. I call anybody out for a debate, because I'm surgical with this, and I do my research. So I was going on salute to Trenches. I don't got no beef with Trenches. I haven't talked to him, but I don't got no beef. But I was doing debates on his channel, and everybody that came on that channel, I was just slicing them up, because I'm surgical with this. I do my research, and I know a little bit. I don't know everything. I don't pretend to know everything, but I know some things. I do know some things. Yeah, but hip hop is not responsible for, you know, the social fabric of America. You know, I think the social fabric of America has decayed way before hip hop came on the scene. If you want to be honest, let's just be honest here. Let's just keep it around. Has it? If you want to make the argument that has it contributed, that's a different discussion. I would agree with you. If you're saying that it contributed, I would agree. I would say, yeah, has it contributed to the decay of maybe Black America, or to the decay of Western culture? I would say yes. But to say that it's solely responsible, and it's the sole reason, I disagree, because we're not looking at the history. We're not looking at, you know, everything in context to what happened before hip hop. You know? Yeah, I like to debate, Sinclair. I love to do the debates. Like, I would love to do a debate where we actually, you know, have, like, you know, like we pull up sources and stuff like that. Because I watch, like, Sonetta TV, where they have, like, you know, conscious debates. I would love to do that. We pull up some sources. We'll have a topic. You know, I would love to do that. You know, I wouldn't mind doing it on my channel, but sometimes it's like, I don't want to be the debater and the moderator, you know. Vijay says, I'm not talking 1930s today. Rap music is poison for the youth. But that's the thing, Vijay. You're not looking at you're not looking at history in context. You're just looking at rap in one point in time and just saying that it's poison for the youth. You're not looking at how we got here. If you're saying, and first of all, just saying rap is poison to the youth, that's misleading, because every single rap song is not poison. There's rap songs that's about being a good human. There's a rap song that's a gospel rap song that's based in faith. There's a rap song that's, it tells you how to tie a bow tie. There's rap songs for different things. So for just to say rap collectively is just bad, I think that's misleading. I'm just saying, now if the conversation is that hip hop has contributed to the decay of Western culture, then I would say yes. But don't sit up here and say it's the only reason. And yes, those 1930, those 1940 films are a part of it, because those things were influential. Those things influenced the next generation to make it acceptable. You just want to look at one point in time in history and say the people that are here right now and the people that are doing this, they're just responsible. Look at the whole picture. Look at history in its context. Don't just take one particular time and say, oh, this is the reason. No, don't do that. True himself agrees that Sexy Red is wretched. Exactly, I agree. I'm one of the biggest critiques of Sexy Red. I've been on here vocally talking about Sexy Red, plenty of times. But thank you guys for joining me. Even Vijay, salute to Vijay, salute to Sinclair, salute to Nelly. Thank you guys for joining me. I just want to come on here and talk about this for a little bit. I'm happy we had it. And Vijay, salute. We had a great discussion. Subscribe to the channel, man. I like the way you're thinking, though. We talk about things like that, and I like people that like to debate. So yeah, get checked in, man. But salute to you. Salute to all the people that's watching in the excuse me, people that's watching in the clouds right now. Salute to all the moderators. I'm gonna see you guys in another video another time, man. I hope you guys have been entertained as well as enlightened. I am True and Living. This is the Check-In Report. I'm gonna see you guys in another video.